Story: The Last Watcher at Miller's Crossing. There's a stretch of old country road a few miles outside my hometown, a place people pass through without noticing. It's called Miller's Crossing, though no sign marks it anymore. Just a narrow bridge of weathered planks over a creek that never seems to dry, even in summer. Folks say it's cursed. My uncle told me the story first, his voice low over the campfire, and later I heard pieces of it from others, always whispered. They said that if you stop at the bridge after dark, you might see the last watcher, and if he sees you back, you'd best pray he doesn't follow. It began more than 100 years ago, back when the town was little more than a handful of farms and a sawmill by the river. Travelers came and went on horseback or wagons, and Miller's Crossing was the only way in and out. The creek was swollen then, the bridge newly built, and the woods on either side thick enough to swallow a man whole. People said the place felt wrong even then. Horses balked at crossing it, lantern flames burned strange colors when carried over. But necessity made men stubborn, and the bridge was used all the same. One autumn evening, a farmer named Eli Barrett failed to return home. His wife waited until dawn, then roused the neighbors to search. They found his wagon overturned on the bridge, one wheel split clean through as though struck by lightning. His horse was gone, the reins hanging loose, and of Eli there was no trace. They combed the woods, dragged the creek, but nothing turned up. It was the first disappearance, but not the last. Within a year, 3 more men vanished at the crossing, each leaving behind an overturned wagon or abandoned horse. Panic spread through the farms. Some swore it was bandits, others a wild animal too cunning to catch. But the strangest part was the silence. No screams were ever heard, no signs of struggle. It was as if the men had simply been plucked from the world without sound. Then came the watcher. The first to see him was a young girl named Sarah, walking home with her mother at dusk. She pointed to the bridge and asked why the man stood there. Her mother saw nothing, but the girl described him clearly: tall, dressed in dark clothes from another age, a lantern in one hand. His face, she said, was pale as milk, his eyes dark as tar, and he watched her without blinking. More sightings followed. Travelers spoke of a figure standing at the bridge after sunset, lantern burning without flame. Some swore the light pulsed like a heartbeat. A few who claimed to have passed him on horseback said the air grew so cold their breaths fogged even in summer. No one dared approach by then. People avoided the crossing at night, choosing longer routes through the hills. But not everyone was so wise. A pair of hunters, drunk and eager to prove their courage, wagered they could walk across the bridge at midnight and return unharmed. They never came back. Their bodies were never found, though their rifles turned up months later, rusted and half buried in the creek bed. My uncle said the watcher was no ordinary ghost. He was a keeper, a sentinel for something older than the town itself. Some claimed he was the spirit of a mill worker who drowned in the creek, doomed to guard the crossing for eternity. Others whispered he wasn't human at all, but something that borrowed a man's shape to lure the living closer. Whatever the truth, his presence grew bolder with time. By the 1930s, the county tried to close the bridge. They tore down the planks, but by the next season, new boards appeared as if laid by unseen hands. They collapsed it with dynamite, yet within weeks the bridge stood whole again. No one could explain it. Eventually they gave up, built a new road miles away, and let Miller's Crossing rot, but the watcher remained. Stories filtered through the decades. Teenagers testing their bravery parked near the bridge, only to flee when a lantern's glow bloomed in the dark. Hikers swore they saw footprints appear in the dust behind them, though no one followed. A truck driver who took a wrong turn claimed he glimpsed a pale figure in his rearview mirror for miles, though the road behind was empty, and always the same warning: never meet his eyes. My uncle said he made that mistake once. He and his friends, foolish and curious, hiked to the crossing in the late 70s with a case of beer. They sat on the creek bank, laughing and telling ghost stories until the night grew thick and the woods too quiet. Around midnight, a lantern's glow flickered on the bridge. The laughter died. The figure stood there, tall and still, lantern raised. My uncle swore the light didn't illuminate him so much as outlined him, his body blacker than shadow, his face a blank mask of white. His friends bolted, but my uncle lingered, frozen by terror and fascination. For the briefest moment, their eyes met. He described it like falling into a well with no bottom. Cold filled him, not the chill of winter but the emptiness of a grave. His mind flooded with images. Wagons overturned, faces gasping in silence, bodies sinking into dark water without a ripple. He couldn't breathe, couldn't move, until a hand yanked his arm and dragged him stumbling into the trees. They didn't stop running until dawn. His friends swore the figure never left the bridge, yet my uncle heard footsteps behind him the entire way, slow and steady, keeping pace without hurry. He carried that memory all his life, the weight of eyes that were not eyes, a presence that pressed into him like iron. Some say the watcher takes those who linger too close, swallowing them into whatever lies beneath the creek. Others believe he marks you when you meet his gaze, and no matter where you go, no matter how far you run, he will find you eventually. My uncle lived to old age, but he never once set foot near Miller's Crossing again. Even when dementia took his memory, he still muttered warnings in his sleep, pleading not to look into the lantern. The road is almost forgotten now, the bridge rotting under moss, but travelers still vanish from time to time. Just last year, a hiker was reported missing, his phone last pinging a mile from the creek. Search parties found nothing but a torn backpack snagged on a route. I can't say whether the watcher is real or whether the forest swallows its own by other means, but when my uncle told the story, his hands trembled and his eyes flicked to the shadows as though expecting a lantern to flare. So if you ever find yourself on a lonely road at night and the woods go quiet and you see a pale figure with a lantern standing in the dark, don't meet his eyes. Don't follow the light, because once he's watching you, he never stops.